Okay, guys, roll for intro.
Woo! Nat 20!
Oh, looks like the booby prize is his.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Fanservice, your weekly geek fueled trip into the world of pop culture. I am one of your hosts, Gavin Stone. We got some special guests today. We're joined by
Stephen Giddings.
Courtney Manor, you know me from Ladies of Fandom.
I'm the GM of the group, Pocky D.
So you're watching the Fanboy TV Block Party. It's been all new all since January. Hope you guys have really been enjoying it. We've been developing our show some more. But we wanted to have some fun today because we always talk about some pretty serious subjects here. Like, you know, we get into current events, things like that. Said, screw it. We want to cast our fantasy Dungeons & Dragons movie. We want to talk about who we want to see, the roles of the heroes, the locations we want to see, monsters we want to see. Our topic today is we want to cast, because they've done those horrible Dungeons & Dragons movies in the past. Y'all remember the one with Marlon Wayans?
Yes.
I don't even know what that was. That was not a movie. Yeah, that was not a movie.
No, that was a movie. It was a train wreck, but it was a movie.
No,
It was a movie.
It had Thora Birch in it. That's all I remember. She looked like the little girl from the Never-Ending Story of the Princess. The nothing is coming for us. Like, that's all I saw.
And then I can control the dragons because I have dragons that control dragons who are dragons. Dragons.
So I thought, who better to come up with their fantasy Dungeons & Dragons maybe than a bunch of geeks? So that's why I brought on some super special guests today, because Courtney and Pocky know all about RPG worlds, and that's going to come up later on. And Giddings and I are just idiots when it comes to fantasy stuff. Like,
They're training.
ninjas.
we're not in a Dungeons & Dragons setting. We're not ninjas. We're rogues.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right,
We're
got it.
ninjas. and-
Actually, you can be a ninja, but it's in one of the supplement books.
Yes.
Which just makes no sense at this point in time.
Well, I mean, there is
An
the
Eastern
equivalent
set.
of the Far East in D&D. The D&D world
Is it anything
a
like Kung Fu
full globe.
Panda Land from World of Warcraft? Because that was
No,
a
that's
cheap
Shard.
knockoff.
That's Shard, different.
That's Shard.
Shard.
You know, when they released Mr. Pandaria, they were like, ooh, Kung Fu Panda, there's an idea we can steal.
Pretty much.
But they existed before Kung Fu Panda, technically, so...
Yeah, it's mostly
Yeah,
a back lore in one script in one sentence, and that was that one time.
So they didn't think making the whole Asian thing based on pandas was kind of typical and stereotypical and almost racist?
No, it was called appealing to the Chinese market.
Because they only like pandas? Like, I thought they liked everything.
They love,
Pandas
no.
They love pandas.
They love
Extinct,
pandas.
man. They're saving them. They're extinct.
Okay, one, you also have to get around the whole, they're against, like, you can't have mysticism, like how the undead look in World of Warcraft could look completely different in China than it does in America.
So we thought, yeah, we're going to get together some fun stuff today.
So we
I have
both
no idea
with
what they're
Gavin's
talking
brain,
about.
and yeah, this week we decided to talk about D&D and an idea for a movie.
So, let's get this show started with our Geek History book. We'll be right back with this week's big events right after this. Well, everyone, welcome to this week's Geek History book. I'm trying not to clap like I do every time because I just like to clap and say so.
Well, it's
Proper boards.
it's like you think the show runs on the clap, you're like, clap on, show on.
That's pretty much what it's like.
true, yeah.
So we're going to look at this week's Geek History book. These are things that happened this week in the world of geekdom, both made up and real. So first off, in the far future, HAL 9000 will be first booted up this week in history. Like, that's, I think, worse than Skynet almost.
Actually, wait, he should be booted up right. He should have been booted up in like 16 years ago.
well, I
that's
don't
how-
like
how-
the movie, so I don't really care.
Well, no, because the movie was literally called 2001: A Space Odyssey and took place in 2001.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you-
that's right. So, like, 16 years,
years
ago
ago,
this week, HAL
yes,
was like, I'm
yes.
afraid I'm not going to be able to let you make a good movie.
No, that was a great movie.
That movie was a piece of crap movie. It was
That's
one of those
because-
idiots
because-
insisted upon
It was
itself.
shit.
Gavin, that's because it had story.
It didn't have story.
Yes,
it had
it
a
did.
space baby at the
It
end
was,
of it.
yes, that was
Monkeys throwing things at
metaphor.
a domino.
Moving on.
Anyways,
I have dice I can throw them at you.
it gave us a very iconic line that everybody loves. It's even in our Life of Geek podcast of, I'm sorry I can't let you do that.
Yes.
Like,
Okay, guys, I'm sorry I can't let you do that. We need to move on.
anyways, so that was lots of fun. Next up in 1929, we got our first 1010 comic. Now, I find this funny because a lot of people don't know who or what 1010 is.
Yeah, because like I love it that we got like Steven Spielberg used a huge amount of his money to make the 1010 movie.
Which was fantastic.
it was,
looked
except it
amazing.
failed totally in the United States, but made all of its money in Europe and Asia.
Yeah. Tintin's like a young Indiana Jones almost.
Yeah.
And he has a dog, and they have all sorts of fun. I loved Tintin in middle school. That's when I discovered Tintin and ElfQuest.
I love
Nice.
Tintin. I love Tintin too. It was like, because in America we have the Hardy Boys, and in Europe they have Tintin.
Yeah, and I prefer Tintin. And I don't understand, because the movie was really good. It was really beautifully done. Why didn't people go watch it?
Because Tintin is a more familiar property over in Europe where it originated. In Belgium, in fact.
But they couldn't, like, I mean, people over here knew who Tintin was. I know all the fans saw the movie. But I always thought there was a universal appeal to Tintin, but apparently there isn't.
No.
No,
I,
but
don't know. I didn't even know them or
Like
what
you
it
said,
is.
America had the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. Europe had Tintin and a couple of others.
But we haven't got a Hardy Boys or a Nancy Drew movie.
Actually,
We did get a Nancy Drew movie that was
Yeah,
not
we
a
did.
Nancy Drew movie. Therefore,
So it's not a Nancy Drew movie.
well, we're also getting a Nancy Drew TV series where she's going to be
Oh,
a
please
black,
tell me you're going to Riverdale that and make it all hard-booted and gritty.
black lawyer.
Well, I don't understand that. This doesn't
That-
comprehend. Nancy
Just-
Drew's not a
So,
lawyer.
and also in this week in history,
Okay. The mighty Gandalf fell to the Balrog in 319 TA. I don't know what TA means because I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan.
don't ask
Pocky?
me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Look, you know what? There's only certain fandoms I'm willing to crawl into, and that wasn't one of them.
Lord of the Rings is a great fandom to crawl into. What are you talking about?
No, it's not. It's not. It's the same sort of fandom that's like the Shakespeare people, and they get words and they go, okay, what did Tolkien mean when he used the word and?
It's like the whole theory around fly, you fools. It was just a choice of language, not meant to actually
Everybody-
literally fly.
Reads everything into everything these days. That's how you get
Yep.
these awesome fan theories. And
Well, it's also how we get the Cursed Child. Therefore,
but she wrote that.
Right.
she helped edit it for the play. It was actually two main writers that sent her the script.
So yeah, Cursed Child does feel like a fan fiction because they didn't do anything new
Right. Here's the thing.
except time travel. which,
Tolkien's
no one's done
universe is
before.
incredibly
I'm so
deep, but it's mostly
so
because,
lost.
much like
We'll get
Rowling,
into it.
Tolkien took a lot of Celtic lores and
Celtic,
mythology.
Germanic,
And it went like-
European.
Yes, and he went and made a thing. The reason he made those books was because he was a linguistics major and a linguistics professor in England, and he wanted to show off the Elven language. He made books to show off a language he invented.
Several
Which,
languages that he
hey,
invented.
whatever. They're enjoyable movies. I love the crap out of them. They're really long.
They are really good, though.
That's about it.
So
They're-
you
I
guys,
tried.
I didn't know you
tried.
guys aren't Lord of the Rings fans. I thought you guys would be.
I
no.
respect the franchise for what it did, like what we're about to talk about. But as far as Lord of the Rings, it's a little too dry for my taste.
It's a little too dry. There's
It's very English.
very English.
I
and
get
very
that,
male.
but I always thought it was pretty funny that they had this awesome wizard who did no magic except conjure a light bulb.
Yes, because it's a very British thing to do. It's about the power of the individual.
Oh, he's going deep with it.
So I always find that funny because you're either Lord of the Rings or you're
Harry
Star
Potter.
Wars or Harry Potter. Like everyone has their definite fandoms. And my
Mm-hmm.
favorite Lord of the Rings joke is from Clerks 2.
Oh yeah, I walk 4 feet, turn, have some dialogue. Walk 4 feet, turn,
have
have
some-
some dialogue. Yeah. That's
There's
Lord of
only
the-
one trilogy that matters, and we all know what it is. It's the original trilogy of Star Wars. Period.
Boo.
Correct.
As much fun
And
as
the
we
Force
love
Awakens.
Lord of the Rings, at least they didn't give us Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right.
You cannot argue with me on that one.
Nope.
All right,
One
next
more
up.
item.
This is a pretty big one. Like
Yes.
when I was doing my research for it this week, I didn't quite understand how things developed. But in 1928, RCA and GE tested the very first television receiver, which is a television box, in 3 homes in New York.
Yes.
Like, do you think people thought they were mad?
Yes.
Yes.
You mean you can put movie pictures in my house?
Yeah, but do you know how big the screen was?
Oh God, they were huge.
No.
Oh
the
no, this is
screen.
the little bitty ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. The box was like as big as like that tower over there. But
Yeah.
yeah, the screen itself was this big, and you had to use mirrors. You couldn't look. They were so afraid of the radiation that was coming off of the screen that they had mirrors. They flipped
Get
them.
in the back.
Did they know they could just duck and cover?
Well,
Yeah, it wouldn't have vacuum tube at
yeah,
that point.
That's the 60s.
So I thought it was pretty funny because we wouldn't be where we are today had they not done this. We may have gotten to it at some point in time, but we'd still be lugging around those giant TVs that weigh 500 pounds as opposed to one that weighs 5.
God,
I
hate
think
those
it was. If you want to talk about where TV really starts taking off, it's when I think about another 15 years later when New York broadcast to California for the first time.
True, and that's going to be in another upcoming, or maybe it was a past. We
No,
talked
yeah,
about it
it's in the
before.
near future. Yeah, it's somewhere on the line. But yeah, that's where TV starts really picking up.
Yeah, the 1950s is
Yeah.
when it became a commonplace
But
item.
what do you think was going through these guys' minds? Hey, we really want to put TV. Like, do you think they had any idea where it was go?
I think they were looking at a government contract.
Ooh, the lucrative government contract. Big Brother can spy on you with your massive, small, tiny TV screen. That's what the mirrors were for.
Not the spying part, but the whole like, oh, the government can broadcast orders and whatnot, and that's what they were probably. I mean,
Where was he
most,
selling it to Nazi Germany?
well, no, I mean,
Because our government doesn't broadcast orders to us.
Well, no, at the time, no, not yet, and we actually currently do. I mean, you could have a tablet or a smart device.
Video
broadcast-
conferencing.
Singers radio, stuff
Yeah.
like that, you know.
Right. So I mean, at the time, it's the most contract thing back in the past that companies would want are government contracts, because it's like
Yeah.
I could develop a piece of technology and the United States government will give me like $3 million for the dang thing.
Look at
mean-
America's Army. They spent
Yeah.
like billions of dollars on that game.
Right.
And we thank it all to that. So that's been this week's Geek History Book. We hope you guys have enjoyed it, but it's time for us to get into our Geek versus Geek topic this week, which is going to be quite interesting. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
And you know how when he would kill his victims, he would put a jar of honey on them and just let them suffocate.
All right, everyone, welcome to Geek versus Geek, where we like to pit two of our own geeks against each other over a really fun topic. And it's going to be really interesting this week because since we're talking about casting our own Dungeons & Dragons movie, we thought, let's debate what would be the best way to do it. Entirely animated or entirely live action? So, defending live action, we have Pocky!
Because I am about the practical effects.
And he lost the practical effects battle, in case you guys forgot that. I won! And going against Pocky, I thought this would be really fun. His wife, Courtney!
Hello.
She's going to be taking on what?
CGI.
So,
Or at least
here's
animation.
here's how this all works. They each get 1 minute opening argument. They each get 1 minute to rebuke the other's arguments. And they each get 1 minute closing argument. Then I get to decide who wins. Sound simple enough? You guys ready?
This is something
Sounds
we do
like I
all
wanna
the
be
time,
losing.
isn't it, honey?
Yes. We
But
actually
now
have a
I'm
game
in the
about that.
middle, and hopefully it doesn't get too bad. I do not want to be punched today, Pocky.
What about slapped?
No.
Okay.
So here we go.
I
Are we
will not
ready?
Lay a hand on Gavin. I promise.
Pocky, your 1 minute starts now.
You know, the wonderful thing about modern Hollywood is it's full of geeks. And in this day and age, that is one of probably the most important things when making a D&D movie. We have The Rock, and we have, of course, you know, damn it, Chronicles of Riddick. I just forgot his name.
Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. We have Vin Diesel. These two guys love D&D, and they're a huge part of it. We also know a lot of Hollywood directors, including the guys who did Stranger Things, love D&D. With the passion behind this, making a live-action version of D&D movie will be great because they have the passion, they have the composure to put it all together and make a product that the fans and maybe new people will actually want to see and enjoy. And not a Damon Wayans comedy skit that involves, at the end of it, a really bad ending involving a tapestry that sucks them in and drowns to death or something. I don't know. The sequel didn't even make sense.
10 seconds.
And you know what? I'm going to end it here because I feel like not wanting to brood on Damon Wayans.
Who doesn't want to brood on David Wayans? Like,
No, brood because of
How about
Damon.
Marlon?
or
It's-
either of them.
it's
They're
one
not
of the
good
Wayans
actors.
brothers.
Who keeps letting these people make movies?
Like one of them, the action one is pretty good. The
White Girls? That was the worst movie I've ever seen.
no, the one who actually does like all his own action movies and whatnot.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for your opening argument?
Ready for my opening argument?
Your 1 minute starts now.
CGI. Honestly, you're going to involve a lot of heavy effects in a thing like D&D anyway because, I mean, yeah, a lot of monsters. See how thick this book is. So it's going to be a very effects-heavy movie. Practical effects are nice, but they're expensive. If you get in something like the animation technology behind Avatar, however, you can make an amazing, visually beautiful movie and not have to pay out the wazoo for building a practical 20-foot dragon. Those are not cheap. Other than that, you can custom make the characters and the races. You can have Vin Diesel or Bruce Willis voice the dwarf and not have to worry about trying to fit him in and alienate your actor like they did in Lord of the Rings for Gandalf in the Shire.
10 seconds.
It's a very alienating experience for Gandalf. That being said, I rest on that first minute.
Wow. She wants to turn Bruce Willis into a dwarf. Like, for real?
He'd make an excellent dwarf, yeah. Like the voice of one.
He has too girly a voice to be a dwarf. Dwarves talk like Jeffrey.
Yippee-ki-yay.
No, you're thinking of gnomes and halflings.
All right, so it's time for our 1 minute rebuttal round. You ready, Pocky?
I am ready.
Your time starts now.
You know what? The thing about animation is, unless you really willing to get a big time studio to actually do it, maybe DreamWorks if you're really kind of pushing it, you know, you have to get like a big time studio to actually really willing to do it. And the other problem, and that if you don't have that, you have a studio that's not going to be very well animated, and your animation is going to eventually look like garbage. And people are like, man, look at that computer CGI. It looks like garbage. And now the movie looks even more hokey. But you know what? With practicals seem to age pretty well. Yes, your dragon's going to be a little bit more expensive, but at the end of the day, it's at least going to be memorable. And they already have a bunch of animated D&D movies. They're all direct to video, and nobody knows about them except the diehard Dragon D&D fans who are part of that. What we want is a big time movie where you can have a poster of Vin Diesel with a sword, or an axe with whoever. It'd be awesome. And I think with action, you can at least get people to understand it's not a kid's thing; it's an adult thing if it's live action.
Time? So, yeah, axes with whoever. Like, just insert anybody here is what you're telling me.
Well, no, I mean like some big time action star. I lost my brain right there. I have lost.
Because you went back to the Marlon Wayans, we're like, oh, that was a good movie.
No, I got Marlon Wayans. I'm like, no, not Marlon Wayans with an axe.
All right, Courtney, your 1 minute rebuttal starts now.
Except for the fact that you have to remember animation has gotten a lot better in recent years. Look at Avatar. It may have been delayed for a while, but it is getting its sequels and multiples at that. That animation technology is beyond amazing, in my opinion, and you can do so much with it. DreamWorks is building their own technology constantly for animation. There are some practical effect movies that are amazing and cult classics. I can point to Gremlins, and their effects still look cheesy and hokey. They did not age well. Practical effects to age well, they actually have to look really, really good. CGI, a fresh coat of paint does wonders. It's a restoration project at that point, not rebuilding an animatronic model that's likely to pull a Jaws on you. And what was the shark's name?
Bruce.
Bruce.
10 seconds.
Past that, I mean, all the races in D&D. I mean, come on.
And time. Okay, you had some good points, but you brought up Bruce, and you lose points for Bruce because I happen to love Jaws, even though he was a crappy robot.
That's exactly my point, though.
All right.
But his crappiness is why that movie works.
Yes.
Except that they couldn't use him as much as they wanted to use
Which
him.
is why the movie works now.
Yeah.
Watch the Spielberg documentary. It was actually kind of boring, but it was fun.
Yes.
All right, 1 minute closings. You ready, Pocky?
Yes.
Your time starts now.
You know, at the end of the day, like I said, toward the middle end of my last part of my argument was this: that when we go animation, people are going to go, "Oh, it's a kids' film." It doesn't matter that Avatar is considered an adult film. People actually complained that they were taking their kids to Avatar, and it was kind of dark and violent. But why? Because it's an animated feature. But if you make it live action, and then you have Vin Diesel, and you have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you have some big time action stars, and you tell people right off the bat, this is done by the guys who did Stranger Things. You know what? People are going to know immediately this may not be for kids. And that's the biggest deal about the whole thing versus live action versus CGI, is how are we going to market this? Are you going to market it as a kids film, even incidentally? No, and you don't want that. What you want to make sure is it's a movie for everybody, for all people. And when you say live action, you have people who won't immediately dismiss something that's animated. People dismiss the Lego movie.
10 seconds.
Even though it was actually for multiple people, because it was still animated. When you go live action, what you're telling people is that it is for everybody.
And time. You ran out of time that time.
I know.
All right, that's the Pocky we know and love, the one who loves to talk.
I know.
All right, Courtney, your 1 minute closing starts now.
All right. Rebutting the age argument, I'm going to point out the superhero movies here. They're live action beyond a doubt. And people are still trying to take their kids to see Batman versus Superman or even Deadpool. Therefore, you put a name like Dungeons and Dragons on the movie, and no matter what, you're going to get adults trying to take their kids to the movie, no matter how hard it's rated R. Even with live action, CGI, at least you can keep it in the PG-13 range, or you can release it straight to like the digital companies like Netflix or Hulu, where it is actually age-gated and strictly for adults.
10 seconds.
That's pretty much the argument I have for that.
All right, time. Okay, so this was actually really funny hearing both sides because I like both sides. You lost points for saying DreamWorks would do it because they're not going to Shrekify Dungeons and Dragons. I'm
No,
sorry.
I said we don't want DreamWorks to do it because they'd Shrekify it.
They would Shrekify Dungeons and Dragons. They'd be singing
that
pop
was-
songs at the end.
So
Unless
that
they handed it to the team that did How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, even then, I could see. But, so I had to make a decision on this, and you're right. Animated films people are going to take their kids no matter what. Let's not forget the Beowulf fiasco.
yes.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
And
or
that
the
movie
fact that Deadpool, yeah, people
was
were
really good. And Deadpool, people complain because, hello, it's Deadpool. Do you not know what you're walking into? Because he's in a Spider-Man cartoon, he must be safe.
Did you
Overall,
not read
though,
the comic.
I'm going to give it to Kenny. Here's why. You would have won had Jim Henson been alive, because look what we did for Dark Crystal and Labyrinth. We would have gotten a live-action Dungeons & Dragons movie like that.
But Jim Henson's company's still alive. Look at the.
They're not the
look
same.
At, look
They're
at
not the same.
yeah, but look at the new Dark Crystal.
They're not the same.
You know what?
The Dark Crystal.
He
is
was the
passion
driving
project.
force behind that stuff, and if he were alive, he could pull off a live, real practical effects Dungeons & Dragons. That's why you lose, because that's the only way that movie would work.
Yeah.
Oh no, there's some really talented guys out there right now. So
Yeah. But
No
you're
one
not
would
going to
be
get the funding that
near-
Dungeons and Dragons
you just
will
have a
go
Jim
after.
Henson boner.
Well, duh. I mean, we've had Frank Oz on the show.
Yes.
But think
You didn't
about
let me
it.
interview him.
Are you still bitter about
He's still
that?
mad at me for that. It was me and Caleb. Sorry.
me.
No, it was earlier this year. Okay, so anyways, that's been our Geek versus Geek. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please let us know when this hits online what you think about it, and also topics you may want to see us tackle in the future. But right now it's time to get into our main topic. The main show will happen where we're going to cast and plan our fantasy Dungeons & Dragons movie as if no budget existed. We'll be right back after this.
Which in modern Hollywood there is no budget.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Fanservice. We had a great time on Geek versus Geek.
I still
Courtney
can't
won.
win, even against. Yeah.
Pocky always votes against me. I always vote against Pocky. It's just kind of like the curse
Yeah,
of Geek
yeah.
versus Geek. We shouldn't
Yeah.
put each other together anymore.
No.
Or y'all should have done it, and I could have voted.
You would have voted for him because if you didn't vote for him, he'd give you the cold shoulder to marry.
No,
That's why I was
we
in-
have actually a rule about that. Actually, in our marriage, we have a rule. If we disagree with something geek, it stays in the little bubble.
Yeah.
We
Pocky and his bubbles.
Oh yeah.
No, but I'm just saying
Pocky
it's.
has a lot of bubbles.
But it's we don't involve like, you can't say
Got it.
cut off the things.
All right, so today we wanted to have some fun and cast our fantasy Dungeons & Dragons movie. We want to talk about locations, monsters. We're going to cast our team of heroes and villains. We want to have some fun. If we had no budget, what would we want to see in a Dungeons & Dragons movie? So let's start with some locations. Is there any? I mean, it's the one from Baldur's Gate and Waterdeep. Those are like the two big locations.
Okay, that's depending
Forgotten
on
Realms.
which. Okay, the thing about D&D is there's multiple worlds. Waterdeep and Baldur's Gate is one world.
Yeah, the Forgotten Realms world, which is their most popular setting.
So let's just go
world.
with Forgotten Realms since
Okay.
that's what. So a
Because
Forgotten
there's-
Realms D&D movie.
Because there's also one called Shattered Sun, and that's it after a magic apocalypse.
Yeah, but let's stick to Forgotten Realms because that's the one that everybody's familiar with. That's
Yes.
where Barovia is. That's where Waterdeep. That's where.
Because I think it would be
everything.
really fun, because I don't know a lot of locations, but when I watched the Warcraft movie with my Warcraft junkie, he was so excited to see everything on screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I got bruises from him punching me. Oh my God, look at Stormwind! Like, whatever. Like,
Stormwind was
yeah.
amazing.
What location would you want to see where you have that feel like, oh my God, that's exactly
Okay,
what I saw?
So
Definitely Waterdeep is the prime
yeah.
location for Forgotten Realms. It's the primary city. That's my favorite place in D&D. The Underdark would be fun to film. It's a massive city underground.
That would be pretty fun. I forgot
and that's
about that
underneath
one.
Waterdeep.
Yeah.
So I think that's where this should take place. It's Waterdeep. It's Lords of Waterdeep and Underdark. That way you can have your good side, and they have to go to the bad side, and then they go to an actual dungeon.
I wouldn't call Waterdeep exactly good.
It's more
however.
the like
It's the
town of
overworld.
liars.
Yeah, the overworld, and yeah, this would definitely be very like the good guys aren't really that good, and the bad guys aren't really that bad scenario.
See, I think that'd be a lot of fun. Play it up like they did in Small Soldiers, where it's not exactly what you think, because I think we're all spoiled by things that are very. We already know what to expect.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Very
come out
black and white.
and be like, okay, let's try something different. I think if they were to do something like, funny story about Waterdeep, I know about it because I have the board game. And
Yes,
I
love
ruled that
Waterdeep.
board game because I set everybody up to fall like dominoes. And they were so mad. They were so mad.
See, I like that
play
game
against
because
you.
yeah, I love that game too. We actually got that at our wedding. That was actually one of our wedding gifts. It was like, please buy this board game because we will play it.
Loved it enough that we got it on Steam to play against each other without having to drag out the board if we're just sitting at home.
Lots of fun. So if
lots
we've
of fun.
kind of set up our location, there's so many ways this movie could go. What kind of plot would we want to see? Like, if you were watching this fantasy film, what plot would you want to see? More magic? Would you want to see more action?
I like magic, definitely like spellcasting and magic, but like warriors, like we'll say like that game For Honor, when you got the samurais, warriors, and all coming together, and like definitely having that magic feel, like definitely.
Courtney?
Just because I have to put this out there because this is my own personal thing. Good orcs.
Oh.
Like, I'm starting to pull a Pocky here. Racial biases not included, but orcs are not inherently evil, humans are not inherently good, yada yada. I want to see that because honestly, I think that whole you are inherently good or evil depending on your race is kind of a whole bunch of bung.
That is so overplayed.
It is so overplayed.
Now, which universe are the orcs actually fungus? Is it Warhammer or it's Warhammer?
Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Yeah.
They're fun guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand mushroom
They're
warriors,
nothing.
but okay. Pocky, what would you want to see?
As far as plot wise goes, I love kind of taking the guy who starts with nothing and by the end has everything to prove.
Oh,
and
he's the chosen one?
I don't want the chosen
We're not
one.
making a
I
young
just
like-
adult novel here.
No, I don't want chosen one scenario.
Dragon
but
Age.
I want literally a guy who's like he went to claim something. He went to claim his heritage. He went to claim part of Waterdeep because he wants to move forward in life, and he does it. He succeeded. We don't have to do the chosen one. We could just do I want a Napoleon scenario where he starts off as a commoner and works his way up to becoming a noble.
I'd like to see. I'd like to see magic in it for sure. I think magic
Yeah.
is highly underused in a lot of these films. They
yeah.
did a pretty good job in Warcraft, I feel. But I would like to see the group of heroes going into the Undercity and having to go on some epic quest that doesn't just take place in one movie. I'd like it to be very high energy, very like Game of Thrones is where you don't know if they're going to survive.
Yeah.
I want characters to be able to die off and not be able to roll back to life, Because
good
I
point.
think that's the other thing is we watch these movies, especially with movies like this, they're going to live to the end.
Well, actually, no, and the problem is now, though, that the whole you don't know who's going to survive to the end, that's actually now even becoming its own worst trope. Like, not even just...
But it's still far more watchable and fun and engaging than, okay, well, they're going to live to the end because you've seen the trailer and it shows them partying in his house that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but that's because the trailer ruined it for you.
Or
not
pretty much
because
the
of
plot tells it in the beginning.
Yeah, like, I'd like to see the chosen one die like in Feast. Do you remember the movie Feast?
Yes.
The hero walks in, dies right away.
Yes.
And they all have to kind of, I'd like to see something like that. Just come in and just let it run and have fun. But I really wanted to focus on a lot of magic and
Like with magic spellcasting.
magic spellcasting. You have your barbarian, but let's work the other ones like the rogue and the bard.
yeah.
Someone's got to be playing music in the background the whole time because it worked in Mad Max.
Yeah, I
was
was
gonna
I
Yeah,
think is
the Electro Chrome Bard, that was amazing.
I think as far as magic goes, I'd also like to see practical magic. Like, you see the mage cast a fireball so he can cook his meat or something. You just
Yeah.
a guy like not just like, oh, magic is only for the sorcerers and whatnot, but like the necromancer using like skeletons to put up his books and whatnot because he's just like, I need to put this stuff.
I
up
would
here,
definitely pay to
skeletons.
see the necromancer in it because I think that'd be fun to see him be the good guy, but have
Yeah.
all this dark, life isn't pain, kind of
Life
like
is
that.
pain. Ask the skeleton. Ask the zombie in the corner.
I think that would be a lot of fun. I think that's the biggest issue when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons movies. I don't think any story would ever be able to match what everyone's already created.
I have a question that
Okay.
might need to be asked. Why does it have to be a movie? I mean, in this
Why
day,
can't we get
Yeah.
a live-action TV series?
It could be a live-action TV series.
I would
Because-
love to see a D&D TV series that's done well.
Right, because
That's,
I mean,
that's the thing. It has to be done well. Like if it's done on the Game of Thrones level, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
If it's done on the on the cheap 80s cartoon level,
No, it's not.
no, worse yet. What was that? The Legend of the Seeker?
Oh yeah, no.
We watched the pilot of that, and we were horrified. But like, I would
that
like
gave me
to.
a
Because the
headache.
thing about D&D is, and I think this is where the problem with the movies, the first movie's at, because there are sequels to it, and it's absolute garbage.
The
But
sequels aren't direct
Who
sequels.
funded that? Who thought that was a good idea?
direct to video.
Direct to video. Wizards of the Coast, because they were trying to
Yeah.
reinvigorate the market before finally figuring out that why don't we just release another book?
So even if it were to work as a TV series, it would need a band of heroes.
Yeah.
Let's see. We want to do what, a barbarian,
A knight.
some sort of wizard,
Paladin.
paladin.
Paladin, yeah.
We have to have a bard.
You have
What's
to
the
have
fifth
bard.
one we want to cast?
Okay, hold on.
Druid. Okay.
A druid, yeah.
So, who would you want to cast as the warrior? Of anybody you could cast.
Anybody as a warrior?
In Hollywood, yeah.
Man.
Your barbarian warrior.
I'm gonna go with Mark Wahlberg. He's badass.
No, he won't do it because he's a diehard Christian, and D&D goes against their faith.
But if you could get anybody,
Yeah.
do you think Mark Wahlberg would be able to pull that
Depends
off?
on
and be
the. I don't know because
I mean, they gotta be like rock
like,
bulky, not like
Oh, okay. So then
Transformers
that.
bulky.
Oh man. So do the guy from the new League of Justice League. Poseidon looked good. That.
Oh, Jason
Jason
Momoa.
Momoa.
Yeah.
I could see that one.
Definitely. Like if I would.
She just quivered.
I know.
so, yeah.
You all right? You okay?
Jason Momoa is the
okay.
barbarian.
So yeah, I would pick him.
Okay. What did you pick to cast?
For my druid, Michelle Rodriguez, definitely.
I could see that one.
She is an amazing actress, and I just
I could see her turning into a panther or something because the druids can
Yeah, the
shapeshift into like
No, yeah, that's
wolves
actually
and
a good
whatnot.
choice.
and she'd be pretty good to play a snarky kind of. Why are you cutting down that tree? Stop that.
Okay, Pocky, we have what, the bard, the magician, and what left?
I'm gonna leave you the
So-
bard because that is so.
Paladin.
I'll
We
take
got the
bard.
paladin.
The paladin.
The paladin. I actually I would like to see because I want an older paladin like a man of faith who's been all through this. I would like to see Jeff Bridges.
Yes.
Yeah. He made
Jeff
it-
Bridges
he's
is the
good.
old paladin who's he's just a little too old for this, but he still got it. He believes it's like, just imagine that southern draw, just going, hand of smite.
That's,
can see that.
that's actually really good.
I would cast Doug Jones as the bard. Let him be any sort of character. He is spinning left, and I've seen him dance and move. Doug Jones.
Okay,
He
well,
wa-
what
he
if we want a
was-
famous actor?
He was.
Yeah.
He is
cast him in
famous.
them.
He's always in the costumes.
Yeah.
Put him as an elf bard or something. Lots of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is very spindly. He can move. I mean, you've seen him do Ave Sapien and half the things from Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
You know he could do a good bard. And it wouldn't be that jokey bard. It would be pretty fucking good.
Oh yeah.
I just cussed on TV. Anyway, bleep out. Okay.
I spit right out. I know I've been really good.
We got to cast our wizard. Who do we want to cast as a wizard?
A wizard.
We need somebody nerdy. And don't say Seth Rogen.
Michael Cera.
Nerd though.
Could be. I could kind of see that, but he'd be more that neurotic one. Oh my God! Like I
Michael
can't.
Cera, or the actor who plays Sulu in the current modern.
Oh, that's perfect.
I like
John
Jesse.
Chu or something.
John
No.
Chu.
John Chu.
Yeah, that would be perfect. I could see that.
Yeah,
I was thinking more toward Jesse Eisenberg or something like that. Like
Yeah, the dude who played Lex Luthor. Maybe.
We've
Oh,
got
Patrick Stewart for somebody. Jeffrey's back there. Going,
Oh,
Patrick
yeah.
Stewart.
No, Patrick Stewart would have to be the.
He'd have to be the villain.
No.
No, that's
Patrick
Jeremy
Stewart.
Irons. He needs his redemption because he was the best
No.
thing about the
we would
original
just kill him
DVD.
off
No.
in the beginning.
No.
Just kill him off.
Patrick Stewart needs to be the noble who believes in the heroes to save Waterdeep.
I believe he has to have a hovering chair. I'm sorry. He needs to be the chair.
No.
He needs to have Ian McKellen as one of his partners.
Oh my God! Like they'd be like his like royal vizier.
Yes.
Yes, they will save the world. And he's trying to like kill him.
No, because you remember what video game Patrick Stewart was in?
Which one?
He was in Elder Scrolls.
That's right.
Full-
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you remember what happened to him after the tutorial?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that broke my heart.
All right. And last
Yeah,
but not
sorry.
least, what monsters would we like to see? Pick your one monster you'd really want to see.
Other than the obvious dragons, because it's in the
I want to see
title.
Beholder done right.
I would
Giant
love
eyes
Beholder.
or a slime cube. How much fun would it be to have a slime cube just kind of chasing him real slow? Jiggle, 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 jiggle.
Can I give you my choice? I don't know. I don't know any monsters. So.
You love D&D. You told me.
No, I did not. I said like.
Look to a random page.
See? All right. So here we go. All right. Boom.
The Cambions.
Cambions.
are
Those would be
fine.
lots of fun. All these monsters
Oh,
would be
yeah, okay,
awesome,
so,
but
like-
you'd have to have a dragon. Would it talk or would it not talk?
I have the ultimate dragon.
No talk. Has to talk.
So
It has to talk.
So I have,
Morgan Freeman.
Okay.
No talk.
I have 2 dragons we can choose from.
Okay.
You have Tiamat,
All right. Keep going.
the god of
'cause we're almost out of
dragons.
time.
Lich dragon.
Lich dragon.
Draco
Okay.
Good.
Lich
What would you
dragon.
want to see besides a dragon?
Fairy drakes, actually.
Oh.
They're
Fairy
little
drakes.
tiny winged lizards. They're not directly drakes. They are cute and adorable, and oh my god, they will mess you
So
up.
we have evil dragon, fairy drakes, slime blob,
Okay.
and beholder. I think we'd be set.
I think, yeah, but I think ultimately the bad guy has to be a person.
It
Yeah.
has to be.
It has to be a lich. Has to be a lich who's pretended to be a person the entire
That
time.
would be Ian McKellen on the sideline all the time.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we just cast our fun Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Now here's the question: do we want it in theaters, as a Netflix series, as a Hulu series, or an HBO
I'd like to see it as a
series?
Netflix
HBO.
series.
I wanna see it as a
Netflix can throw
Netflix.
some money at it.
Yeah, Netflix could do it because Netflix could get away with, like, you know what? Just
Hand it
go
to
with
the
it.
Duffer
But-
Brothers.
go
Look how
for-
cheesy
Make
ass
it
movies
like
on there. though.
that campaign.
All right, so that's been our fun talk of our fake fantasy Dungeons & Dragons movie. It's time to get on to our 10 things list with Pocky and Courtney talking about, what are you guys talking about?
Other main systems that you can that are not D&D.
Yeah, new RPGs you may not know of. So we'll be right back after this.
There we go.
And you know how when people would kill his victims, he would put a jar of honey on them and just let them suffocate.
Excellent. Okay, now it's time for our top 10. There's more out there than
we
just
need to. Are we not on camera 1 only?
No, you're on 2.
number 2.
These are the only 2 cameras.
Oh, those are.
So, yeah.
My bad.
We have our shit together on Fanservice set, not like ladies, you just kind of see the pants.
Hey, Gavin, look below the table.
That's what I did earlier, but you didn't do anything.
Let's count down from 5. Ready? 5, 4,
Four,
3, 2.
Well, that was an entertaining bit of fun we had with our with talking about D&D movie. But you know what?
Honestly,
There-
that's my favorite thing to do.
Yes.
We've done that plenty of times.
Yes. But right now we have more than just D&D, and me and Courtney are going to go through our top 10 systems, settings that aren't just D&D.
Systems and settings.
Systems and settings. So our number 10, we're going to start off with Courtney.
Mutants and masterminds. Honestly, think X-Men, Marvel, DC, all that kind of combined into a really good, solid, super-powered campaign setting.
It's
Does
di-
it
dice-
has its own?
has its own dice setting system, and the Mutant Master Side system is pretty easy and quick to learn.
Very easy.
It's also got a lot of different settings, a lot of different companion books, including a how to run a kind of 19 golden age, 30s, 50s style superheroes,
I think early Detective Comics.
and everything in between. If you want a more modern, you have everything else, go for it.
Yeah.
Now, my number 9, for me, hashtag number 9, is Feng Shui. Have you ever wanted to play a extreme 80s action movie, maybe a Hong Kong action movie, and you thought to yourself, well, how can I do that? Well, Feng Shui does it. 2D6 based system using the stunt system. You can play anything from the big bruiser of Hollywood to a martial arts master who can literally dance on bullets.
Or the intrepid reporter who's always getting herself into trouble. I've done that before.
Anything in
It's a
it.
fun system.
It is a fun system. It's really easy. They have characters that are easy to customize and a lot of fun. Trust me, guys, with this one, it's an easy, fun game night. And they even have a list of movies you should watch to explain the best sort of movies that you could make as a role-playing game. Our hashtag number 8.
Hashtag number 8, Shard. Think anthro-mythology meets...
Indian mythology.
Yeah, Indian mythology meets anthropomorphism. It's got a very good backstory. It has its own setting and system. It's a very easy system to pick up. Very complex, very rich. I can't wait to actually run this. I'm going to be running it at ChupacabraCon, hopefully.
It's also made
very
here in
beautiful.
Austin by a group of gentlemen in Austin. The only real negative to this game is, unfortunately, it uses what they call shard dice, which you have to buy separately.
Or you can just use some regular D6. You don't have to have the specially shaped dice.
Yeah, but it does recommend using them. As far as the
It's just a
anthropomorphic thing
cosmetic
goes,
thing.
as more of the anthropomorphic thing though, excuse me, sorry about that. It's not a furry game. It happens to be that these race has evolved from cats and bears and lions, and it's all martial arts and Indian mythology, and it's a lot of fun and it's big and different. And we
yeah.
really highly recommend it. So our number 7 is mine, and that is All Flesh Must Be Eaten.
The game I will never play.
The game she will never play. But if you want a zombie apocalypse game where you're pretty much guaranteed to have no characters by the end of it, All Flesh Must Be Eaten is definitely up to your alley. This game even encourages players to make 3 or 4 characters at character creation because they will literally die. The other fun thing about All Flesh Must Be Eaten is there are lots and lots and lots of companion books. Even pro wrestling, pirates, ninjas, and Asian mythology, and all sorts of weird things, including a bizarre game show where you are contestants trying to survive in a zombie outbreak in a kind of gladiatorial-like combat. It's really cool. And speaking of cool, your number 6 is even just as cool.
7th Sea.
John Wick's masterpiece.
One of the best games John Wick wrote, aside from a couple of others. Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's got swashbuckling. It's got Pirates of the Spanish Main, if I can say words. This game is a lot of fun. It's also one of the highest funded independent role-playing game, pen and paper role-playing game on Kickstarter ever. This game only asked for a little bit of money, and ended up basically
topping
3,000 times its budget it wanted. And it's won lots of awards. If you want a high-stakes swords and sorcery, but meaning a Pirates of the Spanish Main, Pirates of the Caribbean style with ship combat, this game is definitely up for you.
Best ship mechanics I've ever seen, in fact.
Yeah, yes. Speaking of ship mechanics and swords and sorcery, this game we personally love, and we've even done full campaigns for Star Wars by Fantasy Flight. Now, we had to be very specific, the Fantasy Flight one, due to the fact that there are other ones, including the D6 one. But the Star Wars the Star Wars Fantasy Flight game is a lot of fun. And it actually doesn't base itself off damage, it's based how well you succeeded.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this one does kind of break my rule about having special funny dice, but they're not very expensive, so it's totally worth getting into.
Yeah, and it's super easy to pick up and play. One of my favorite characters I've ever played came out of Star Wars Fantasy Flight. Little Twi'lek dancer. She was amazing.
She used lightsabers and killed you.
Yep.
So yours is next.
Next up, we have D20 Modern. This is something like Pathfinder, the open source system like GURPS, things like that. No, GURPS isn't part of the D20 Modern.
No, D20 Modern is basically anything that uses a D20 to determine rolls.
Yeah. This one's super easy. It's more of a system itself rather than a setting. But it's so setting agnostic that you can literally write your own stories for this as long as you're willing to put in the work.
So my hashtag number 3, because we haven't hashtagged it in a while, hashtag number 3 is Shadowrun. Dystopian future, got it. Magical beings, got it. Dragons, well, you should make a deal with one, otherwise you end up on the loose end of things. Did you like Blade Runner? Then this game is absolutely for you. Did you wish Blade Runner had an orc at one point using a railgun to kill a shadow beast because the shadow corporations sent one out? Yeah. This game is so for you.
Hey, dwarves.
Dwarves using guns. There's street mages, street samurais. You know,
all sorts of fun things.
All sorts of fun things.
It's what would happen if you took one of our previous systems and added in Blade Runner.
Yeah, basically it's high fantasy meets cyberpunk meets basically Blade Runner and douche android dream of electric sheep. This game is really worth playing. The lore behind it is so in depth that actually each edition actually adds to the story.
Yeah, and then. Hashtag number 2, moving on, we have Castle and Crusades. Very similar to the D20 Modern, it's its own system, but it's not directly related to D20 Modern. It's got a lot of settings. It's very easy to pick up and play, very D&D-like. The wonderful thing about Castle and Crusades, though, is that literally all your characters' information can fit basically on a post-it note. It's very minimal amount of on an index card. It's very minimal amount of information you need. It's mostly a lot about storytelling. And of course, me and Cordy's number 1, hashtag number 1, because hashtag Savage Worlds has to be in everything. Yeah, Savage Worlds.
Savage Worlds is our number 1.
For various other reasons, we're currently in a campaign for Savage Worlds. Called Rippers Resurrected, Victorian Steampunk Madness.
Savage Worlds is a system that has lots of different settings. Its rules are really light, really simple, and not very complicated. And because it has lots of different settings for different system, it's easy to just take a set, tell everyone that the difference in the rules would be.
Yeah.
You have everything from a Victorian era, you versus the Freddy the Krueger style monsters, or Frankenstein.
On up to more highly modern settings, like they actually put this out. They picked up riffs as a
Yes,
setting.
they have Savage Rifts. They also have they have ETU, which is basically.
East Texas University, which is Buffy, the college years.
So if you guys want all that,
Definitely check it out on Pinnacle Press.
Let us know in the comments or whatever what you thought of our top 10 list. If it was kind of predictable, I was going to have Savage Worlds. Also, let us know what you think and what your favorite setting is.
Also, make sure to tell Pocky to breathe every now and then.
That's true. So next up, we're going to close up the show and have a little bit more fun. So check you out on the flip side.
So that's been a wrap for this episode. It's been lots of fun with you guys. I just got a shoe thrown at me. You guys will see that in the outtakes.
I didn't know how to take it.
This is why
This
we
is our
should.
show.
That's why we shouldn't allow certain
You
people.
two were way too excited for that Thanksgiving list. Like she'd tell you to breathe like, I love RPG, I love RPG, like you were on sugar.
He was so
You should
excited.
see me at conventions.
Oh my God.
I've seen your convention. So we've had lots of fun casting our Dungeons & Dragons movie. It's been a whole great deal of fun.
Yes.
Stay tuned because we have more Fanboy TV Block Party shows all night long with you guys.
Including mine.
We hope you guys are enjoying everything that we're doing because we do it for you guys. Make sure you hit us up on fanboytv.com and make sure you hit up Warriors Gaming League.
Warrior Gaming League.
What's your URL?
Oh, which one?
Warrior Gaming League.
Oh, yeah, warriorgamingleague.com. I thought you were talking about Twitter, Twitch. Well, yeah, we can do
You can find it all there. We're not going to get into all the little fine details where you can
Or
follow
find them on
Stephen
Facebook,
Giddings
Gaming Warrior League.
the Warrior Gaming League
Yeah.
Facebook. Yeah.
and Courtney on.
You can find me on Ladies of Fandom or at ladiesofandom.com. We are part of the Fanboy TV Block Party. You'll catch me next.
Awesome.
No, you won't catch me
No,
next.
'cause you're now afterwards.
I'm now afterwards.
So they can be a little bit
around.
more adult. I gave them a different time slot.
Alright.
So it'll be lots of fun. And so, yeah, make sure you hit us up online and like everything we do. And
Don't forget to like and subscribe on any of our
social media outlets. You'll see all sorts of fun things.
And
If you
we're
like-
Southwest is
and we're
coming
always
up.
posting
You know,
new
so you
stuff.
got the
Southwest coming
Southwest.
up. And if you like to watch Fanservice, you'll see all of our fun clips only on our Fanservice Facebook page. So make sure you go look for Fanservice official show or whatever.
You can pretty much
I
find
gotta remember what it's
everything.
called. Yeah.
I'll push it.
We have all of our fun behind the scenes clips there, like the Xeno Jigglypuff from last season, and
Gavin.
Pocky going, "Slap the box, slap the box." Yeah, like
Oh my God.
There's everything.
Really?
You can search anything.
we have all sorts of fun
know
things
that
on our fan service page. So we'll see you guys next week, same time, same place, but don't go anywhere because the Fanboy TV Block Party continues now. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.